California's Gold is produced in association with KCET Los Angeles and is seen statewide on California Public Television. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association. It sits on top of a mountain, and it's probably the most famous house in California, maybe even the whole world. We're talking, of course, about the Hearst Castle, built by William Randolph Hearst and his architect, Julia Morgan, back in the early 1900s. Now, this huge mansion has 115 rooms, including 38 bedrooms. And along with its gardens and fountains and guest houses, is a true California treasure. Of course, these days it's a California state park and is open daily for tours. Recently, I walked around the grounds with Victoria Kastner, who's written a book about the castle and knows her stuff. Now, during the tour, I was impressed by the castle itself and by the landscape. But what really caught my attention was the huge, beautiful outdoor pool. This pool is called
the Neptune Pool, and this view we're getting of it right now, Huell, is what the guests would get. When they first arrived, they came toward the top of the house and descended terrace after terrace until this opened out before you, this incredible pool. Now, pools have always been a part of Mediterranean gardens, but they used to be just ornamental. William Randolph Hearst and Julia Morgan made this not just beautiful, but functional. This was a swimming pool. They heated it year-round with kerosene oil-fueled boilers. It's 345,000 gallons of water. They heated it up. It's 3.5 feet deep in the shallowest and 10 feet deep on the deepest side, and they swam in it all the time. And yet it's exquisite.
How excited would you be if you were a guest here and you stood here for the first time and looked out at this, and then, of course, looked out at all this land? Now, are these, well, obviously, what are these? These were imported.
These Italian cypress trees were brought in to be living columns to complement the ancient Roman columns in the temple of the swimming pool.
So you got the living columns, you got that looks like an ancient.
Yes, actually it is. Those are around 2,000-year-old columns, the 6 in the temple.
But this wasn't the original pool that was designed to go up here, was it?
It evolved over a period of time. San Simeon was built from 1919 to 1947, over 28 years. And for about 18 of those years, they built 3 pools on this spot. Hearst said he wanted it to be a night garden with water lilies and then a swimming pool. So the first pool was small in what we'd recognize as just a family pool. The second version, which came in the middle 20s, was about the size of the oval in the dark marble that's on the floor of this one. But they expanded it again in the middle 30s to this magnificent site today. It's 104 feet long and 96 feet wide. And of course, the real feature was added in the third version, this Roman temple.
What is the deal? That's authentic. That's real, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's a combination of elements, as so much of the estate here at Hearst Castle is, antique and modern. What's tricky is telling the old from the new.
So part of it's old and part of it's new.
The 6 columns are granite columns, and they are mostly from ancient Rome and date back to the 2nd century A.D.
I got to tell you, the setting of this, of course, is so beautiful, too, because you're looking out over this beautiful landscape here, but this whole thing was designed to be to look Italian, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But the figures that we're looking at here, the figure of Venus rising up as a fully grown woman from the foam of the sea. In mythology, she had no mother or father. She was the most beautiful woman on earth, and she was born from the sea foam. That was made for William Randolph Hearst in 1930. And do notice that the mermaids are wearing page boy hairstyles.
So that was the modern.
That's the modern version, but it's called the Neptune Pool because of the figure at the very top of the temple, like an old Roman temple.
Oh, there's Neptune over there.
And William Randolph Hearst bought that statue of Neptune in New York City And he wrote, "Dear Miss Morgan, we have to find a place for Neptune. While he is not overly attired, he is an elderly gentleman with whiskers who lends an air of respectability to the establishment." What it is an Italian fountain of Neptune and two sea nymphs. It was three-dimensional is what I mean. So they sunk it in to concrete, so it looks like a carved pediment of an ancient classical temple.
Now, is all this original? I'm afraid to touch anything.
Thank you, because it would stain. But it's Carrara marble, and these were made for Hurst in Paris, and they're dated 1930 and signed by the sculptor,
so
Charles
these
Cassou.
are all original.
Right, and they were made for the pool itself. But you see what I mean? It's very hard to know where the new begins, where the old leaves off. It's a wonderful effect. And you hear the sound of the flowing water. And of course, they swam in here. You'd hear whoops and yells when people were using it.
Were people lounging underneath these? What do you call these? You've got one on each side.
Grouped columns like this are known as a colonnade, and they were made in Vermont. And that same white marble with the light green vein is what is on the floor of the pool. It's not this lovely turquoise blue.
So this is white.
When it's empty, it is so white you can't even look at it without blinking.
So is that a reflection from the sky?
It is light refraction largely that makes it look that turquoise blue. This is a lot of water. It's 345,000 gallons, and it's not pumped up from below. It comes from mountain springs higher than we are and flows by gravity.
So wait a minute, this is fresh mountain stream water to this day coming in this pool?
Absolutely it is.
Now back in the day, this wasn't clothing optional, was it?
Indeed it wasn't.
They had a lot of Hollywood stars up here.
Yes.
You don't know what happened up here in this pool.
As a matter of fact, there was a young man, this is in the 1930s, who was the son of a newspaper editor. And he came down wearing that newfangled kind of swimwear, which was just bathing trunks with no top. And Mr. Hurst asked him, through the butler, if he would please go back up to the dressing room and change into a more appropriate attire, like a wrestler's outfit, you know, the tank top and bottoms.
Okay.
So it was very modest, not clothing optional at all.
Now I gotta tell you, standing that close to the Neptune Pool and hearing all of Victoria's stories about it really made me want to jump in right there on the spot, clothes and all. In fact, I kept giving her subtle hints that I'd like to go in for a swim. And after a while, I think she caught on. Because months later, I received a phone call inviting me back to the castle. And to the Neptune Pool.
I want to go in.
Okay, time has passed. Actually, it's been almost 4 months since I was here at the Hearst Castle with Victoria, who gave me this wonderful tour of the landscape, the gardens, the trees, the flowers. But what has stuck in my mind all this time has been the Neptune Pool. So I'm back to ask some more questions about the Neptune Pool. This time we've hooked up with George Carter, who's been a tour guide here for how long, George?
About 12 and a half years.
So you know what you're talking about.
A little bit.
All right, let's cut to the chase. Just how wild did it get down here at the good old Neptune Pool? I've got all kinds of visions of these wild parties, these wild party weekends here at the castle.
I'm thinking it's probably not as wild as you want it to be in your head. You know, I mean, Hearst had sort of a Victorian sense of a morality kind of thing. And even
he was prudish in his own way.
He's living with the other woman. His wife lives in New York. But other than that, W.A. Swanberg, one of his biographers, said he was against sin in the abstract, you know. And I think, you know, when you were here in Hearst Day, you're not getting super wild parties, you know. And the kind of people that are coming here are people like former Olympic gold medalist in swimming Johnny Weissmuller. I mean, you have a serious swimmer here. There was a woman named Gertrude Ederle, who nobody talks about anymore. But back in Hearst Day, summer of 1926, she swam the English Channel. She was the first woman to do that. But what was significant was she did it in 14 and a half hours. And the fastest male time, which was 5 guys had done it, and the fastest male time was about 16 and a half hours. So she did it and broke the record by 2 hours. She was a guest here. I mean, you had world-class swimmers in your pool.
So there were some real swimmers here. But what about, wait a minute, W.C. Fields was here too, and he wasn't a swimmer.
W.C. Fields was in a movie with Marion Davies. And if you were in a movie with Marion, you tended to be invited to San Simeon.
He wasn't a swimmer.
He was,
some of these other stars I've heard that were here weren't swimmers.
W.C. Fields was more into other liquids, I think, other than water. Yes. One of his great quotes, he said, once during Prohibition, I was forced to live for days on nothing but food and water. Yeah, but you're not. I don't think you're getting, the skinny dipping that you're looking for. I don't think you're seeing this here.
So you don't think there was skinny dipping here?
I don't. Well, there might have been.
There weren't any wild pool parties where people got thrown in the pool with their clothes on.
No, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I think that was the rare exception rather than the rule back in Hearst day.
And I think Victoria told us there was certainly no topless swimming for women, and not even topless swimming for men.
Right. You're not. It's in terms of fashion, you don't get until it's the late 30s before men start going topless. It's just not the standard back then.
And Hurst wouldn't have allowed it anyway.
I don't think so. No, that would not have been appropriate. And Charlie Chaplin, he was here frequently as a guest, the silent film comedian, and he said, at San Simeon, it was an atmosphere of tension and frivolity. You have all of these exciting, interesting people that are also being invited up here, but there's always the sense of the powerful figure with his set of rules that
Hurst,
you sort of have.
How far could you push Hurst?
Exactly, and you didn't.
You didn't
want to.
He was Victorian in many ways, very strict.
Yeah.
Straight lace.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
With a really, really nice swimming pool.
You burst my bubble about the pool. I was thinking all kinds of things about this pool. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, we've been standing here this afternoon watching all these tours go by here. How many tourists do you figure have seen this pool in person since this opened up to the public back in the 50s?
Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 million, something like that.
35 million people.
Even in the last, since I've been here, we've averaged, 750,000 people a year, give or take 100,000 kind of thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And they've stood right here,
Sure.
looked in this pool, and I know that 99.9% of them have wanted to go in this pool.
And I would say that figure's even higher for the 2-year-olds. They see a pool and they want to go in, kind of thing. But yeah, it's pretty.
What is it about this pool that makes everybody want to go in it? Is it the location? Is it the beauty of the place? What is it?
It's the reason we are still a pretty active historical monument, because there are so many different facets to the place. The pool was designed by the first woman architect in California. It's large, it's beautiful. It's the Neptune Pool. And Neptune is the Roman god of the sea, and he creates waves. And you can sit on, as we've been doing, sitting on the deck here, standing on the deck here, watching the waves of the Pacific Ocean. The stylized design on the bottom sort of evinces a wave on the bottom here. It's a really nice pool to swim in.
It just calls to you, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It does. It calls just about everybody that's up here.
Because I got to tell you, this pool definitely calls out to me.
Almost every group that comes up here, somebody says, "Does anybody get to swim in the pool anymore?" And usually, like, I'll be where Amanda is over there with her group. And I'll look at
another tour group. They all want to go in.
I'll be pointing all this in. I'll say, notice the fiberglass and aluminum ladder. I mean, we have respect for the place as a historical monument. So when we get our annual swim in the pool as staff here, we don't use the marble ladders. We use the fiberglass and aluminum.
So there is an annual swim for the.
It's our great recruiting tool for tour guides.
For the tour guides and their families.
Oh yeah.
There is an annual swim here.
And people, especially in this day and age with financial problems in the state, it's really nice to tell people that our big perk doesn't cost the state anything. We get a once a year dip in the pool after hours, and the pool's not heated anymore. It's heated in Hearst day.
And that's for state employees, for the tour guides, the rangers, their spouses, their partners, their friends, their families.
Yes.
You get to come here.
You get to see your colleagues in bathing suits. It's a little humbling for some of us us that are, you know.
Well, I'm not a
age,
state employee. I'm not a docent here. I'm not a ranger here. But let me tell you what, this pool, this Neptune Pool, still calls out to me. As I keep saying, the Neptune Pool, how many times can I say it, keeps calling out to me. I am now standing with Carol
Schreiber,
who is the executive director of
Friends of Hearst Castle.
Okay, now we just talked with the tour guide.
You did.
And he told us that once a year they have a special swim for the rangers and their families and the docents and guides and their families. But there's another way you can go swimming in this Neptune Pool as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. You can go to our once-a-year major fundraiser, proceeds going for art restoration and education. You get to bid on a Neptune Pool swim, and then you get to bring 9 of your friends and go swimming.
So this is an auction item for your foundation, the Friends of Hearst Castle.
It is. And the proceeds go to help to restore this beautiful castle, keep it in pristine order, and for the art and the artifacts, and for art education.
So that's the second way you can swim in the Neptune Pool, legally.
Legally, absolutely.
All right, and we just happen to have, they all look legal to me, right over here. Introduce yourselves to everybody.
My name is Kathy Hoagland.
And this is your family
This
here.
is my family, yes. This is my husband, Jack.
Nice to meet you. Now, Carol just told us the second way you can swim in this pool, if you're not a state employee, like a ranger or whatever that works up here, you can bid on this.
That's correct.
And that's what you did. You bid on this item at the auction for your family to come swimming here.
Yes, yes.
Why did you want this for your family?
I've always wanted to swim in this pool. I came here as a young child, and as a child, the first thing you want to do is get in the pool, and it's always been a dream, and it really wasn't an option until a few years ago to be able to do this.
Yeah, now have you ever been in this pool
No,
before?
I have not.
Has anybody ever been in this pool before?
No.
You couldn't have been in this pool before legally.
No.
Now, how many people are going in the pool today? Everybody's hands go up. Are you excited about this?
Yeah, you bet. This is
Are
a lot
you
of fun.
excited?
Very
Are you
excited.
excited?
Definitely.
Excited? Why could you not be excited about this?
It could be the temperature.
Yeah, it is a little cool and breezy, but that's okay. It's going to be a big afternoon for you,
Oh,
isn't
yes.
it? Something you've wanted to do since you were a small child.
Right.
Now, you know, we've also heard from the tour guide that over 35 million people have seen this pool, walked right by it, since this opened up to the public in the 50s. I was one of those 35 million people. I have wanted to go in this pool all my life. I'm not sure how to ask you this without seeming like I'm putting you on the spot. But you're here. I'm here. I don't have anything else to do.
Okay. Why don't you join us?
Well, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Wow, is it okay if I go swimming with you?
It's okay with us.
Wow, I promise I'll wear a suit.
Great.
You all are all suited up? You're ready to go in? We're going to start things off. This is going to be an experience of a lifetime.
That's
isn't it?
right. Exactly.
All right, let's get rid of all this outer clothing here. Let's get down to our bathing suits and see what happens when they hit the Neptune Pool. That water looks beautiful but cold. We'll find out in just a minute. Okay, there they are. They're poolside. They look ready. They look cold. And they're ready to go in. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, jump. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is like seeing something that you only dream about, watching people actually swim in this pool. How beautiful this is on this spectacular afternoon, to see people, to hear people laughing and splashing in the Neptune Pool. It's like a dream come true. He's watching the water. He's a California State Park's lifeguard. Your name, sir?
Jason Barris.
Okay, now this isn't your usual lifeguard situation up here, is it?
That's correct.
This is kind of special.
Yes, sir. It's a special perk.
All right, now what are the rules here?
Well, the rules in the state park system, there's no diving in the state parks.
No diving in the pool. They could jump in feet first, but can't dive in.
No diving. We prefer them to use the ladder. The marble ladders are getting a little old, so we try and preserve the state park, and we try and make it so that people enter, exit the pool, and they may enter as they choose, but we have them use the ladder on the side, the new aluminum ladder.
What about food or drink?
We prefer not to have food or drink beverages in the pool, and also people can feel free to touch the statues but not climb on them.
All right, so there are some rules about swimming in this pool.
Correct. As much as this is an enjoyable evening, state parks do have regulations, and it makes it so that future patrons can enjoy it.
Now, back in the Hearst era, there was no lifeguard at this pool, was there?
It was probably more of a family establishment. Probably William Hurst took care of all that.
Yeah, so
I would venture to say.
No lifeguards here.
Correct.
Boy, you are looking at them, aren't you? What do you think might happen to them? It's just they're all just right here together.
I do a head count. I always know they're 10, and I count each one in there, and if I don't see 10, I'm scanning. So, Really.
Well, now, wait a minute. There are 10 in there now, but I'm going in too, so you got to up that to 11.
I might have to, I might have to count on that, on those fingers one more time.
Yeah, because I'm getting ready to go in myself. Have you ever been in this pool?
Yes, sir.
What's it like? What should I expect?
Well, it's fresh water. You can expect it just really feels, there's not that chlorine feeling to it. You don't get into it and go, oh man, I feel like it just smells like chlorine. It's from a freshwater aquifer. It's absolutely amazing. Pool temp's about 74 degrees. It's 32 meters across, lengthwise, 18 meters width. It tapers down from 3.5 feet over to 10 feet at the deep end. This is the
deep end.
Yes, sir.
But what does it feel like emotionally to be in this pool? I mean, you're swimming in the Hearst Castle pool.
To be honest with you, it's like a time warp. It's kind of amazing just to be able to swim in there and be able to swim somewhere that, one, is a state park, but two, the Hearst family swam in,
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Okay, the time has come. This is exciting. I've just come from the official Hearst Castle Neptune Pool dressing room.
I mean, Clark Gable and Errol Flynn and all those sort of film stars of the 30s, they changed in those same changing rooms.
Yeah, I felt very historic. We've been watching the family swim long enough. It's time to bite the bullet and go in myself. Now, I've seen pictures of William Randolph Hearst in this pool. He was wearing the old-fashioned bathing suit.
With the tank top, you bet.
With the top. And he was old-fashioned. He liked guys wearing the tops.
Yeah, it's proper. Yeah.
All right, so in respect of his legacy and historical correctness, hold the mic. I have gone to great lengths to have on.
And you had enough.
Yeah, makes a statement, doesn't it? You're jealous, aren't you? You want a suit like this, don't you?
And you had enough sense to also, bring a robe with you. That was
yeah.
good,
Well, that's should you come down with a robe, and this is what they would have worn.
Yeah. This is not Hugh Hefner's house. This is William Randolph Hearst's house.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm doing this. I feel a little strange in this thing, but this is what men wore.
You may want me to hold the microphone.
Hold the mic. Hold the sunglasses. The lifeguard's watching, so I can't dive in, but I'm going to jump in. So here we go. This is the dream of a lifetime, really. And you know that this is the dream of a lot of people's lifetimes to go in this pool.
Happens every day. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
What do you mean it happens every day? You mean people dream of doing it?
People dream of doing it every day. You bet.
But very seldom do they get in the water.
Here it is. And Kathy invited you.
That's right. Here we go. Are you all ready? I'm not sure what's going to happen to this suit when it hits the water. It may disintegrate. It hasn't seen water in a long time.
It'll be part of the show.
Just fall off. They'd be skinny dipping here after all.
Watch
here
out.
We go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, man. Now, I gotta tell you, after all the buildup, all the anticipation, literally all the years of dreaming about someday swimming in the Neptune Pool, the experience itself was everything I'd ever hoped for and more. The water was sparkling clear and not cold at all. Needless to say, the setting itself was spectacular. The Hoagland family were great hosts. We were all having a lot of fun and enjoying the experience of a lifetime together. In fact, I had to keep reminding myself this was really happening.
You know, over the years, I've been to a lot of places in California and seen a lot of things and had a lot of wonderful experiences. But this one, actually swimming in the Hearst Castle Neptune Pool, this tops them all. This is truly a fine example of California's gold. Yay!
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser, and you know it doesn't get any better than swimming in the Neptune Pool. What a beautiful, historic place. And if you'd like to go on this Neptune Pool adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. Well, it's available on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser, and for those of you who want to share our California adventures with family and friends who live out of state, well, you can send them to our website at www.calgold.com, where they'll find a link to iTunes and an ever-increasing number of episodes they can watch for free. We're taking California's gold worldwide on the web.